I didn't know what really values were. I mean, I have all of the prescribed values. If somebody asks you in your life, especially women, what do you value most? Immediately, the answer is family. There's no doubt. And I love my family. I would lay down my life for my family. Most of us would. I get it. I don't base my decisions on my family. What I discovered through the MRA, and I have done the MRA values exercise 100 times. I created my own because I wanted to see if I got different answers. I came up with 24, then I came up with 12, then I came up with my core 5. And then I started to really look at my calendar and where I was spending money. And those are amazing mirrors for your values. Whether you think that you have your values all locked in or what you're valuing right now, good or bad, up or down, left or right, inside out, doesn't matter. Values really have no charge to them. Only what we make them or only what society prescribes for us. My number one core value right now is comfort and pleasure. And when people hear that, our language immediately is cozy socks, big sweaters, all the physical comforts of life. Values are so important to have. And what they really represent is, can we make our decisions based on our values and feel good about them? And so not only is comfort for me physical, but am I comfortable with my financial situation? And if I'm not comfortable, how do I make myself more comfortable? The comfort that I'm talking about is authentic comfort in my life. So the comfort and pleasure thing, I say that to people and they're like, oh, I didn't even know that could be a value. Yes. So family is not one of my 5 top core values. I don't make decisions based on how it will affect my family, but I want to be comfortable with my family. Like I want my family to be comfortable. I want to be in a place where we are all comfortable, where I'm comfortable with my familial situation. In a roundabout way, I do make decisions based on that. I also have connection as one of my high values. I have connection with my children. So family to me is just like, it's not that I don't care about my family. That's not what values are to me. Values are not how I show I care about people. It's who I am as a person. And when I am aligned with my values, I don't feel bad. I don't feel anxiety or guilt. I have nothing to apologize for. I am my most authentic self, and I have created a life around my values. Freedom and flexibility is one of my core 5. I don't want to be strapped to anybody's schedule. That's important to me. That's how I make decisions. And when I make decisions that are misaligned, I get sick. My throat has a weird feeling. My shoulders are tense. My body tells me that is not aligned with one of our values. And I realized until I knew my values altogether, I was living completely misaligned. So it's changed all of the reasons I do everything. Is this for comfort? Yep. Is this for flexibility? Yep. Do I need to say yes to that event or no to that event? I do feel like it's really where the dreaming big comes. Like, what do you really want? That's what values have given me. That's why they've been so integral in my coaching career, in my business mentoring career, in my life as a boss. What are you actually valuing right now? If connection is important to you, when's the last time you had lunch with a friend? If wealth is important to you, cool. When's the last time that you stayed up until midnight grinding? If flexibility is super important to you, what does your calendar look like? The other one that I use as an example a lot of times that gives people permission is ambition. We as a society value ambitious people. We don't value how they got there. We also value fame, but if you want to be famous, you're shallow. It's so charged with societal's view on it that if we can just step back and be like, actually, this is who I am and it's okay to be this way. And I will give you permission. Just be that way. Stop apologizing for it. So I would definitely invite everyone to do a time and calendar audit. That is the biggest tool I think people can do to see where they're at right now versus where they actually want to be. And in a lot of my goal setting tools, I've changed goal setting because I've just never really been a SMART goal gal. It just doesn't work for me. It never has. But I set intentions. So my intention is to do this by the end of the year or do this by the end of January or XYZ. But instead of doing something and giving myself a bunch of action plans, it's who do I have to become to get this done? What kind of person do I have to become? Which when you are revamping your calendar, your schedule that's jam-packed with a bunch of shit you don't want to do, all of a sudden it's who do I have to become to not do this on my calendar? Or if it's not scheduled into your calendar, like what are you spending your time doing? Before you're going to bed, are you doom scrolling? And don't get me wrong, I do this shit too. This is not like me sitting up on a pedestal like I never do this. It's just 80% of the time I try to live inside my values. And so the exercise that we have is a ton of words that I never even knew existed, like pleasure and comfort. Who says that you can just be comfortable all the time and that's a value and that's how you base your big life decisions? I do. Pleasure is also big for me. Like I base my life on that. So having these words that you didn't even really know existed, innovation is another one that I use sometimes as an example, is a decision you're making doom scrolling on Instagram right before you go to bed. Is that in alignment with the person you need to become to be innovative? Now, if you're scrolling on Instagram and you're looking for all the brand new inventions and your feed is filled with Thomas Edison and every single account you can think of that is inspiring your mind to innovate, by all means, scroll away. It's when we get into a place of how much time am I spending doing this? So really being honest with your schedule. I think once you can get into a place where you know your values, you know the values that are really true to you, it might take you a really long time to figure this out, but start with 5. Start with 5 of the words that resonate and then go back to your calendar and say, okay, I have a chamber meeting at 9:00 on Tuesday. What value is this speaking to? Is this connected to a certain value on this list of my core 5? Maybe it's your core 12. We can have more than 5. It's just easier to relate to 5. Is self-care one of your values? It could be one of your values. And that's amazing. If that's one of your values, then we want to make sure that we're going to the doctor, that we want to make sure we're going to the financial planner so our money is also cared for, because that is a huge part of self-care. Nobody likes to talk about money. I love talking about money. Your money is such an even better mirror of your values than your calendar will be. Start looking. Number 1, pay attention. The only intention I had for the entire year of 2024 was to pay attention to my finances. I found 3 Hulu accounts. I found almost $4,000 that I was paying to a business that I no longer work for. A lot of money, right? So all of a sudden I started to pay attention, and then I started to realize, okay, well, I got a lot of it cleaned up, but then I was starting to look at my spending and I was like, wow, I spend $240 a month on HelloFresh. Food comes to my door, we make it, whatever. I also have been throwing out probably 3 of them. What value is this speaking to? Do I want to be more connected to my family at the dinner table? Then we need to start either using HelloFresh to give myself more time to connect, or I need to start cooking so I can connect with my family more. That's where the spending comes in. Do we need Netflix, Hulu? And I'm not saying you don't need it. I just want it to be tied to a value. None of these things are wrong. Pleasure is number 1 for me. I have coffee every day. I don't care how much it costs me. There's no good or bad way to spend your time or way to spend your money as long as they are really aligning with your values. So A, find your values. B, look at your calendar, your current calendar, then possibly make a new calendar of, if I become the person that aligns with these values, what do I have to do to change my calendar around to do that? And then look at your money. Same. Look at where you're spending now. No judgment. It's fine. What value does that connect to? But maybe make a new spending plan of like, what kind of person do I need to become to pay off debt, Like whatever financial goal you have, you might already be at your financial goal and have no idea. You don't need to cut anything or make any more money. You might already be there, depending on what kind of values you have. I think that the time and calendar audit, first of all, it's one of the things that we very rarely audit for ourselves. We just put shit on our calendars and we just spend money. We very rarely actually pay attention to how we're living and time and money. It tells us the exact story of how we live our life, whether you like it or not. The time and calendar audit are so important to also discovering your values. You might find a value in your calendar that you're like not willing to give up, or it might be connected to a different value. There's lots of activities and things we spend our money or time on that are connected to 10 different values. Just find one. It's fine. And just we don't need to apologize for it.